Have you ever thought you weren't cut out for your job? So much so that you feel like you should throw in the towel and pivot elsewhere. But perhaps you are in the right place, just in the wrong role.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of season 2 of Rejected or Selected. I'm your co-host, Simon Carabetta. Alongside me is none other than
Danny Japtor.
welcome back, Danny. It's great to see you. Tell me what's been going on the last couple of months.
It's so good to be back. I feel like we've been away for months and months, which is probably true. It has been 2 months since, maybe more, our last recording. But anyway, Christmas, New Year, all these festivities, so much happening. I had friends, family members visiting from Melbourne, Brisbane, Sydney. And so it's been hectic at my place. Hosting is very, very tiring. It's rewarding, but very tiring. And I thought I would just work through that holiday period. I thought that it would be quiet at work.
No.
But it was not. I was already exhausted by week 2 of January 2020.
Oh boy. Well, look, you live in a tropical island getaway, and if people are going to travel there, hey, Dee lives here. Hey, Dee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come and visit me in Bali, everyone.
Is that appetite?
The rain is not terrorizing us anymore.
Oh, okay.
So sun is out. Maybe I'll jinx it. Maybe it'll come back again soon. But yes, Bali has been nice. I cannot complain.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah. So how's Perth treating you? What's happened to you?
What's happened to me?
over the
What's
holidays,
happened for
Simon? I feel like you have big news.
Big news. I've always got big news, Deanie. Sometimes I don't want to share it. Perth's been hot.
Too bad.
I had my brother came down with his girls over Chrissy in New Year's. Great.
From Singapore.
He lives in Singapore. I was going to say he's from Singapore. No, he's not. He lives in Singapore. He came down to visit, and that was really nice and kept us kind of busy. I visited places that I've never been to. I haven't been to in years, even though I live in this city. So it's always like that when you get, people from overseas coming to visit. You're like, oh, let's go to this place that I've never actually set foot in.
You never play tourist in your
own
room,
city.
so it's a nice excuse.
Yeah, well, you don't see it when you live there. Outsiders see it, right? So you kind of don't.
True.
But after
for
New Year's, when everything went back to normal, and then not so normal because a couple of weeks into January, I started my new job basically. Thank you.
Now selected, no longer rejected.
Yes.
That is our sign.
The rejections have stopped. There were a few. I was expecting them. I wasn't expecting to. Well, I'll backtrack. For those of you that weren't listening last year, well, first of all, shame on you. But secondly, I lost my job as a consultant back in August last year, and it was months and months and months of being unemployed and looking for work. And I think in our last episode, Deanie, I didn't allude. I outright said I was going to go back to teaching, which is what I did for 13 years.
Yeah. You were going to throw in the towel. You're like, cyber's just not
throw
for
in the
me.
towel, 100%. Not that. Ring the bell and get it over and done with. Referee, get the stretcher out. This guy's on his guy. No, but look, it was a half truth in that episode when I said I was going back to teaching because I did get re-registered. I did do some relief teaching, which I enjoyed. But then I remembered relief teachers, it's different. You get paid a very good daily rate. You don't do any marking. If you got really horrible kids, you probably only see them once that week. And that's it. You leave at 3:00 on the dot and you wipe your hands of the day. It's a hard day. Look, relief teaching is not easy. Teaching is not for everybody. But I will say that it was quite rewarding getting back in the classroom. My first lesson was on a Tuesday morning, and it felt surreal walking into the classroom. It's been a long time since I've done this, and I'm not even prepared right now. But once you start teaching, you get back into teaching mode in the first 30 seconds. That shit, it's like riding a bike.
So you got back into teaching mode, and then you've just been pulled straight back out.
And I go, yeah. And I feel also like, Al Pacino in Godfather Part 3 when he says, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. I just feel like, okay, I've been pulled right back in. I felt that with teaching in some way, but then I felt that more so with cybersecurity because I've only just recently, gotten out of cyber and now I'm right back in it. Well, cyber adjacent,
So tell us.
cybersecurity adjacent, not like you, Denny.
Well, it's still.
I'm working for an RTO, so a registered training organization, as a national cybersecurity training advisor. So not in cybersecurity, but in the industry, which I love being a part of.
Yes, but you will be touching many future cybersecurity
Well,
practitioners.
hopefully not touching them, Dini. Right?
No, not touching. I mean, figuratively
We've already started. That's it. We've already
figuratively
started.
speaking. Anyway, so
Dini's like, how do I make my exit now?
get on. It's done. It's out there.
Mm.
Okay, let's focus, Simon.
Sure.
What's the role specifically?
I just told you. I'm
No,
joking.
I mean,
I'm
okay,
joking.
you're
So
an
the role,
RTO.
I'm just messing with you, Dini. I'm in a playful mood. I should say to people, I'm running on very little sleep right now. I went to a trance rave. Now I'm in my mid-40s, right? Trying to relive my mid-20s. So I went to a rave.
Nice to see at a trans.
I saw Paul Van Dyke. I don't know if our listeners know.
Oh, well
Yeah,
done.
it was
That would have
sick.
been awesome. Sorry, showing our age.
I know. But that's the thing. It was people in their 40s. No one below 35, it suited me. That was great until
Which is why you got home at 1:30.
1:30, but
at night.
I didn't fall.
Still recovering.
I didn't fall asleep until 9 o'clock last night. So, yeah. Anyway, all right. So that's
Too
why
much
I'm probably in a very
coffee.
playful mood, everybody. What was your question, T?
What's your new role?
What was my new role? Fantastic.
What are you doing in cybersecurity
I'm
now?
so glad you asked. So, right, as I said, I'm the national training advisor for an RTO. I won't name which one. They're amazing though. My role is the cybersecurity training advisor. So I reset that 3 times. So what I am doing essentially in this role is I'm assisting with enrollments. That's part of the job. But another big part of the job is building strategic industry partnerships. So when you talk about cyber education, there's a lot of players out there. There's the universities that stage the RTOs, which is what the space I play in. What you don't see a lot of, though, is the preparation for careers and that pathway for getting the experience before you actually graduate, when you call it for it.
Hands on keyboard.
Yeah, hands on keyboard, boots on the ground, in the weeds, all the other, phrases that are out there. But it's true. There's not enough alignment with industry because the people aren't getting the experience. And a lot of my role is going to be around how do we build these industry partnerships to make the courses much more aligned and also give these students the experience.
And more relevant and more realistic to what's happening out in the real world.
100%. And I feel what's not happening enough is there's not enough curriculum co-design with industry. And that's something that we are going to start looking at as well.
Awesome. Because we did a big rant about this in our episode with Ian.
Oh, yeah.
So check it out. We'll probably put a link
Yeah, we
somewhere
should.
if we could.
Ian would like that.
Ian Dickinson, that was really, really good. I really enjoyed that chat. I should do more posts on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But I digress. Let's get back to, I guess what would be interesting is telling our listeners what made you doubt your sense of belonging in cybersecurity, because we all know Simon is the person that people would think of when cybersecurity is mentioned in Canberra, in the sense that he's like everywhere. He's like the poster boy for cybersecurity in a good way. Like, you get people together. You're really passionate about, supporting all of the initiatives out there with AWS and CyberWest. You're really in the community. So for me personally, it was very sad that you actually expressed that you might leave the industry. I just wanted to get a summary of your thoughts of why you thought you didn't belong.
Yeah, look, Dee, it's really interesting to bring it up, because what you said earlier about the, looking after the community and wanting to be involved in all the associations and looking at it from a high level perspective. I like to go 30,000 feet up and look at the industry from there. I was actually speaking to somebody earlier this morning about my new job, and I said, look, I'm a high level thinker. I like to think strategically, and I like to think about the big picture. My failing, my weakness is I'm not very good being too far down in the weeds. I'm not very much of a details person, but I do like to think strategically, and I like thinking future. And in terms of cybersecurity, I love being a part of the industry, but I don't necessarily enjoy or am good at being part of a cyber team. Let me explain that. I've been in various roles the last couple of years. So I worked for an MSP. I've worked in state government here in WA in cybersecurity. I've worked for a global consultancy. I even worked as a recruiter for 9 months. We've talked about that in cybersecurity as well. But one thing that I accept responsibility for my shortcomings in that I chose roles. I selected roles that weren't necessarily aligned with my strengths. And I think a part of me knew that. But I thought, it's cybersecurity. Come on, you've been involved around the industry and
Yeah.
adjacent to it for quite a while.
Yeah.
Surely you get it. But unfortunately, it just didn't stick. And I had to recognize that and become aware of that. And it wasn't until after I got let go last year in August that I realized, okay, Simon, reflect. This is what happened. This is what's happened before. Time to think, not how you can improve in those roles, but where can you actually use your strengths? And the thing I love about this role that I've just started is that the management there are recognizing my strengths and giving me projects and work that aligns with that. And that makes me extremely happy because that's where my passion is. That's where I find joy. I'm actually good at. So, yeah, it's going well so far. So I like that big picture thinking. And with this particular role, even though it is at an organization in the private sector, it's not an industry building initiative, but I get to be part of that industry building in terms of helping to build those partnerships that I talked about earlier.
I guess the good thing about that, what I was really excited about is when you told me about this role, I felt like, wow, that's really aligned with, you have the knowledge of cyber because you have been in the industry, you've worked different roles, you've been exposed to, why cybersecurity is important, but also the expectation that cybersecurity is a silver bullet does not actually align with the reality, right? The issues are in the security controls, not in cybersecurity. So you have that understanding, all the people, you have the people skills to engage with both sides of the industry, whether it's the cybersecurity practitioners, the education industry, technical people and non-technical people. So you have the people skills, but also you have the experience as a teacher, which is a really key skill set on its own, right? So I was like, this role sounds perfect for you. And it just goes to show that sometimes people, maybe they feel like they suck at what they do. It's not because they're in general, like just bad for the industry. It's because I guess maybe company management haven't really been able to see what they can bring to the table and utilize that in the best way. So it's like a job misalignment. Or, yeah, you're just in the wrong role and you shouldn't just give up. It's a good news story.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's I guess it's nice to hear good news stories these days. But I think what you said earlier is definitely a true fact. It's that cross-section of education, which I've been a part of for a long time. And look, I'm never stop being a part of education, no matter what role I might have in the future. I always kind of have that background and always approach things through, a pedagogical lens, I guess, say that. But I've got such a passion for cybersecurity as well, and the industry as a whole, that the alignment of those two that cross section is just perfect for me. I don't feel that taking a part as an actual cybersecurity trainer is where I want to be, but actually working alongside cyber education is kind of the sweet spot. That's where I want to be. But for me, the passion has always been, and this has been since my days at Cyber in 2020. It's that industry workforce development. It's make sure that you're building an industry, but you're protecting the future as well, and the future talent. The pipeline, I guess, is the word I'm looking for in that industry.
Yeah, that's great. So basically, you didn't change careers. You changed the shape of your work.
That's a really good way of putting it. That. Changing the shape of your work. Yeah, look, I think that's a fair, valid point, because it's that square hole in a round peg kind of terminology people use when something's not the right fit. But just change the shape of the actual work itself. Yeah. And I was very lucky. I've got to be honest, and I've got to give a shout out here. I don't think he'd want to be named, but there is a certain recruiter here in Perth that introduced me to this role a certain someone who introduced me to this role in the first place, and he's unfortunately making his transition out of recruitment now into something else. I actually think he's an amazing recruiter, but that's okay. He's a great human being too. But if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have found this role.
They're not mutually exclusive, being a good recruiter and a great human being.
Well, he even told me, I know. He even told me, you're my last candidate. And I was like, I better get this job there for you. Not realizing that, hey, this is my career we're talking about as well. No, but like he talked me through the role, and I've got to be honest, when he first told me about the role, I actually thought that's the round peg and I'm the square. sorry, the
Okay.
round hole and I'm the square, and I'm not going to fit. But
Okay.
he would have convinced me, no, it's not the case, mate. This is for you.
But okay,
But
sorry, I just want to ask, why did you think the role wasn't for you? Because when you explained to me what you're doing, it sounded so Simon. Like, was it a different description in the role that you read, or what was it?
absolutely. Look, the role first up, I thought it's just very heavily sales driven. This
Right,
is
yeah.
it. Like, I've done this. Well, I haven't exclusively. I've never really worked sales. I mean, recruitment
Yeah.
can be sales if you think about
Yeah.
it. Um, but yeah, it was more like, okay, well, I haven't got experience doing that,
Mm,
but I guess he kind of brought me around to thinking they want this is new for them.
okay.
They haven't really done cybersecurity much. They need someone to advise.
Yeah.
And I thought immediately when I did my research, thought, okay, how can I bring value
Mm,
in my knowledge of the industry, in my network, and actually do something for them that's going to enable them to really make this a sustainable pathway to take in cybersecurity training.
yeah.
And that's kind of how I really got interested in the job after my first interview, when
Mm,
I explained to them things I would like to actually start doing and
yeah.
why I want to do it for them. And they were all on board with it. And I
Yeah.
was very happy with the fact that they were very reciprocal to, is that the word? Reciprocal? To,
Yes.
they were very,
If
they
it
were
wasn't,
basically,
I know what you meant.
yeah, I know what I meant. You as well. But yeah, I basically was sold on the job when they were showing they were open to my ideas, and I thought, whoa, haven't had that happen in a while. So yeah, I
Yeah.
was really happy with that, and it went from him, this recruiter, trying to convince me to take the job, to me
Mm,
suddenly going, I really hope I get this job. So he did a great job in that, in really bringing me
yeah.
around
But
it,
it
and
sounds
Phil
like
as
it,
well.
yeah, it sounds like you did a great job in, really understanding what you can bring to the table. That's one. And
Mm,
then actually realizing that you are passionate, for lack of a better term, about cybersecurity, and you would like to stay in the industry, in the field. And then your ability to show that, to communicate that to your prospective employee, that's really important. And
mm,
those are skills that, a lot of us as job seekers, employees, we kind of automatically take the back seat and let the company decide what the role should be. And I don't know, just expect the company to really lead where our careers go. And I think,
mm,
being in the stage where I am right now in my career, I've realized that, as an employee, you have a responsibility to actually, I don't know, think bigger picture and not just about what's in front of you, but how you can actually build this company you're part of in a sustainable way that doesn't take so much out of you that you burn out, but also, so the company is able to continue to grow and maintain your salary and, keep you in an industry that you like. I think
mm.
maybe our younger or less experienced listeners haven't thought that far, which is, it's normal. But it's something to think about, really building the skills in an area that you feel like you can, bring something to the table, like building your niche, I guess, building your skills, building your capabilities, so that if you do decide to move careers or stay in a career, you can clearly articulate why those things should happen, why you should be accepted in a new field, or why you
Mm,
should be kept in a certain field. So having
mm.
that self-awareness is really important.
100%. And I think kudos to the company you work for as well, Deanie. And it's not easy for any business, no matter what size, to really take time out of the day to day,
Yeah.
because everyone is busy and things are hectic, to actually
Yeah.
start thinking long term and strategic and thinking, how do we retain good talent and
Mm.
keep focused on their career,
Yeah.
keep them happy about what they're doing? Because at the end of the day, yes, we all work because we've got to pay the bills and we've got to
Yeah.
pay our mortgage and everything else that comes along with that. But at the same time, there needs to be a calling and a purpose to what we actually
Yeah.
do, and to recognize that in your business and with your employees, that this is something
Mm.
people want. That's really important. And I feel that I really feel that people early on in their career, because they haven't built the experience yet, and they're only just getting to know their career selves,
Mm.
like
Yeah.
student selves. Now they're learning about what they're like in the workplace and how they work with other people, and they're
Yeah.
developing, skills along the way. And they're not in a position where they can say straight, like early on, oh, I'm going to
Mm.
change to this now. And
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
I've worked with people. Look, I got to admit, my first few months out of university, I was all ready to work in public relations. I mean, communications was my major, and that's
Mm.
where I did have a passion for that. And then very early on, went, nope, teaching.
this is actually what I want to do. So I was lucky in that regard that early on in my career pivoted very quickly.
Yeah.
But a lot of people can do that or have the opportunity or know how to do that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, we
But I
always.
think, yeah, sorry, go on.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, no, I was just saying, I think when you come mid-career and
Yes.
you've acquired a decent amount of experience, you've got the know-how,
Yes.
you've developed what we call transferable skills as well.
Yes.
It's important. Then you can start looking at what's next. Because that's all these days. Not everyone is going to stay in the same career their entire lives. And again, massive congratulations to people that do that. And that's their passion and that's what they do every day. But not everyone is built like that. Unfortunately, I'm definitely not polite to.
But even roles are changing as well. Companies also changing the way they work. Jobs being created, jobs being ended. You know, we need to be adaptable. That's just the way it is now.
We 100% have to be.
Yeah. And a good note, like the fact that competence, I mean, when I was younger, earlier in my career, competence, is really important to me. When I do something and I don't feel like I've delivered to the level that I'm my worst critic. I feel like, I'm lacking competence, and it affects, your self-esteem. And then it also, that whole, what syndrome, imposter syndrome, there's a little bit of truth I always feel with imposter syndrome, is the fact that you probably feel imposter syndrome because you do feel a lack of knowledge or expertise in something that you're supposed to be responsible for, which is completely normal because, especially in tech, things always change, things always develop. The technology changes, the people you work with change, the business objectives change, and you never stop learning and you never stop developing, having to develop your skills and your knowledge to be able to stay relevant in your job. But competence is contextual. Is that how you say it? Contextual.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, depended on the context. Like, for example, you were in the SOC team and you were feeling, oh, I'm not very competent and it's not really great for me to be in this space. Then you're thinking, oh, I need to get out of cyber. But actually, you are very competent in a different role that actually needs the soft skills and the technical skills, which is teaching and people engagement, that is required for the role that you're in now and still in cyber. So yeah, it is being able to look wider in that field and see where you can fit, if that is a field that you really want to stay in.
Yeah, look, I agree with you 100%. That's a really good example you used there. But not to deviate too much from what we're talking about today, but one thing I will say is I've really got a huge, I do need to put together my hands together for a huge applause for companies that do actually invest in people in terms of training. So you use that SOC analogy, and someone junior, entry level in a SOC, level one analyst might be feeling early on in the job, is this really right for me? I don't actually know what I'm doing. I'm lacking confidence, the imposter syndrome, or rather imposter phenomenon, as someone
Phenomenon.
a while ago said. That's how we should be referring to it, because syndrome implies it's bad. And fair enough. But someone who was getting that, for a company to say, we're going to give you some training, we're going to give you Blue Team level 1 training tomorrow. How do you feel about that? We're going to start you up on that, or we're going to give you some other relevant training to your role, no matter what it is, even as entry level. That could be something that might actually help as well. And if in the end their calling and their skills don't align with that role, they've still acquired some knowledge and they go off to a different role within that company. Or eventually they might say, well, it's not for me. I'm going to go into something else. How do you go into something else? Well, I'll give you an example. What we would call a bridge position, right? So when I was teaching, the natural progression into cybersecurity would be security awareness trainer.
Yes.
That's cliched. A lot of people use that example these days, but hey, I lived it, I breathed it.
But it's the reality.
It's a reality because you know how to train people. Well, we hope you do if you're a teacher. We really do hope you do. You know how to build, understand curriculums, you understand how learning happens and how to engage an audience, because that's extremely important. So that's the natural bridge position into cybersecurity, or even any other industry. You could be training in something else. You could actually do a short course or a qualification in work health and safety, and then you become a work health and safety trainer. So it doesn't really matter. It's not necessarily exclusive to cybersecurity. You could be training in anything. So that's a bridge right there. So what I would implore people who are looking to transition or to find the right shape that they fit into, look for a bridge position. Actually look for something that could be a transition into that industry, something different.
Yeah, okay. So just going back to, do you pivot or do you stay? Should I stay or should I go?
Guaranteed.
I shouldn't have sang that
Oh,
was not required
great
at
song though.
all. It's
Great song.
unnecessary. Yes, but
That's
it,
good.
delivers the message. I guess you want to think about what is it that's making you feel like you need to leave? Is it the actual work that you're doing? Or is it the work environment? Because that could mean maybe you're not in the right team. Are you in a toxic environment? Maybe it is the company that you're working for, but not necessarily the role, right? Then you can think about, is it the role that you're doing, or is it the field? Maybe you just don't like the field of finance or the field of, I don't know, cyber. Maybe you just don't like working with technology and you just want to get out. Well, that's fine. Then that tells you, well, you're not in the right place. But yeah, before you actually leave, like with Simon's example, he really is passionate about cybersecurity, looking for that adjacency, not to completely escape. So that touches on again to what you were talking about with getting transitional roles, like maybe moving out of that specifically tech environment. If you're not really keen to be a pen tester, staying up, being on call, 24/7, you want to, do other roles that are more strategic, or maybe you want to do something that's more engaging with people, whether it's business development or, what Simon's doing. Engaging partners are something that crosses with the educational field. You can probably find something around that. And then, the bridge position thing. Yeah, I don't know.
So I
There's a
think
lot
the
of things.
question, yeah, you bring up some really good points there, Tony. And I think your question, should I stay or should I go? It's like what you said earlier. Competency is contextualized.
Yeah,
Have a good think about that. Like if you want to go, no one's going to stop you. But what are you moving into, and is that sustainable? Do you actually want to go into that? Are you moving for the sake of moving?
yeah.
And some people, unfortunately, do make decisions when they are emotional, and they will say, "I've had it with teaching. I'm leaving. I'm done." Look, for me, it was a calculated decision. I did go for a role, but at that point, I kind of knew I was checked out with teaching. At that point, I already made a decision that I am going to move on to something else, possibly training adults or professionals. And lo and behold, that's what brought me into cybersecurity. So for me, it wasn't necessarily I wanted to go into cybersecurity. It was more I wanted to go into something where I would have an impact on training in the workplace. Just so it had to be cybersecurity awareness, which I immersed myself in immediately and became very passionate about the industry and about cybersecurity, and has brought me to where I am today, I guess. But it's going to be that question: do you want to leave? Why? Is the toxic workplace? Well, maybe it's not the career. Maybe it's not the industry. It's the people you work with. Get out.
Yes.
Go to a competitor.
Mental health is very important. This is a place where you spend half your day in, basically.
Yeah, sometimes more, and that's why
sometimes more. But yeah, I think we've covered everything, Simon. Are we?
Yeah, look, I think it's I really feel that I'm sorry, folks. The focus has been so much on me in this episode. So if you're looking for episode 1 and some really insightful stuff and a fantastic guest, sorry to disappoint you. You got Simon with a dash of Beanie. But
that was great.
No,
but we wanted to share, your big news. And also I think it's very relevant, especially post Christmas time, where, New Year's resolutions, people might be thinking about change or, a fresh start. But yeah, you don't have to, burn bridges and kick the bucket over. Like you could.
Yeah, don't go scorched earth if you
don't do that.
Exactly. Come January, I think the statistics don't lie. I think it's January where, especially in WA, where there are more resignations than any other month. Because new year, new me. I'm going to get out. I'm going to do something different. Like, well, yeah, but like, just have a little think about that first, folks. Like, sit down, do a SWOT analysis if you have to. Do a pro and con chart. Like, reflect. Talk to your therapist. I don't know, meditate. Once in my life, so I wouldn't know what that's like. But what I can say is, do reflect and think before you make that decision. Yeah. And now, what are we in February now? So it's too late for some people. But do think, and look, think about that bridge position. If there's one takeaway you're going to take from today's episode, think about the bridge position. How are you going to transition into another career? What's a role that would most likely be an easy thing to get into, to take your transferable skills over to break into that industry? Think about that.
Would like to hear if any of the listeners have their own experience in something similar. For example, have you ever been told that you're not a fit but then later discover that you actually are. So that would be really interesting. We'd love to read
Yeah.
your story anonymously, of course, if that's what you prefer.
Yeah. So you can hit us
Let us
up on
know.
the rejected or the selected LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, yes.
I believe we have an Instagram as well.
Yes, we
Just
do.
type in rejected or selected. We did have TikTok. We're going to move to a different platform at some stage, though, or we may keep that. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
We'll
We
talk
haven't
socials
decided
another
yet.
time. But either,
It's just
either
me
event,
and Simon. So this is why we
we
were
want
on
to hear
such a
your
long
story.
hiatus.
It's been a very long time between drinks, so to speak. But look,
We're back.
I really want to
We're
thank
back.
you, Deanie. Yeah, we're back. We're back.
Yeah, we're back.
I really want to thank you, Deanie, for joining me again today on our amazing podcast. I'm looking forward to the year ahead. We've already got some really, really cool guests lined up. I guess our listeners are going to have to listen in to find out who they are.
Woohoo.
Woohoo. And thank you, everyone out there, for continuing to listen to us in 2026. We are really looking forward to being in your ears the year round.
Earworm. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
See you
everyone.
on the next episode.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Bye.